Morning America. Breaking this morning on this 11th anniversary of 9/11, a new government warning that American hospitals aren't securing dangerous materials that could make a dirty bomb. In one case, radioactive items left near an open window. The alarming new report out right now.
Miracle rescue on the frigid Alaskan Sea. This fisherman floating alone for an entire day on a small 4x4 plastic fish crate. No radio or phone. How this 19-year-old managed to survive stormy seas with some songs and a personal pep talk.
Extreme Stars moment of crisis. The one-year-old baby of ABC fitness king Chris Powell carjacked with his nanny inside. How we can all learn from the split-second decision she made to save their lives. And how an iPad was the thief's ultimate undoing.
And cramming right now for a very special guest appearance, co-hosting GMA Live. Can she pass the test in the hot seat? Joining Team Robin this morning, Jessica Simpson is set to take GMA by storm.
I'm getting ready.
From ABC News, live in Times Square, Tuesday, September 11, 2012. This is Good Morning America with Robin Roberts and George Stephanopoulos.
Good morning, America. That is right. Jessica Simpson is going to join Team Robin's our first special guest host this morning. She's going to be here at 8 o'clock. And as Robin begins her medical leave, Amy Robach also here. We have a special new message from Robin in just a couple minutes.
We're looking forward to that. And you are looking right now live at Ground Zero and the brand new Freedom Tower rising up high above Lower Manhattan. It's set to be completed later next year. It is a symbol of resilience and rebirth on this 11th anniversary of 9/11.
11 years ago. And of course, we also remember everyone at the Pentagon and Shanksville this morning. Also a lot of news this morning. We have a brand new ABC News Washington Post poll out that shows President Obama getting a bounce now, and we also have some surprising new questions which give insight into why President Obama may be pulling ahead and where Romney's opportunities might lie.
Also today, what a night, everybody, for tennis. Andy Murray winning his first Grand Slam in an epic match, one of the longest in tennis history. And yes, 007 Sean Connery, as predicted, was there to cheer on his fellow Scots.
So a lot to get to. Let's start out with Josh in the news, this frightening 9/11 report.
Indeed, again, on this 11th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, a new report out this morning raising concerns now about our vulnerability to potential terrorists, but not at the airports or along the borders, but inside our hospitals. ABC senior justice correspondent Pierre Thomas is here with this new warning. Good morning to you, Pierre.
Good morning, Josh. While authorities have identified no specific plot for this anniversary of 9/11, many threats remain, including the potential for radicals to get access to radioactive materials. That's why a new report by congressional investigators is so alarming. The report says since 9/11, some hospitals have been lax in securing the dangerous materials that terrorists could use to create a radiological or dirty bomb. The GAO has warned Congress before about lapses at hospitals, many of which routinely use equipment containing radioactive materials to treat cancer patients.
Although we realize how important these facilities and this equipment is, it has to be secured.
This morning, the new report identifies more than 1,500 hospitals as having high-risk radiological sources. A GAO review of 26 found some gaping lapses in security. At one facility, a device containing potentially lethal radioactive cesium was stored behind a door with a combination lock, but the combination was clearly written on the door frame. At another, a machine with dangerous amounts of cesium was stored just down the hall from a loading dock near an unsecured window. At a third facility, at least 500 people had unescorted access to radiological materials. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission challenged the report's suggestion that overall security at hospitals is lax. The agency said since 9/11, the government has helped medical facilities to develop layers of security for such dangerous materials. Josh.
All right, Pierre Thomas there in Washington. Thank you for that. Meanwhile, al-Qaeda has suffered another major blow. U.S. officials confirmed that Saeed al-Shihri, al-Qaeda's second in command in Yemen, has been killed in an airstrike. Al-Qaeda's Yemen branch is viewed as the most active in plotting attacks. Turning now to the economy, if you're looking for a job, you may not have much luck over the next 3 months. A new survey finds only 17% of U.S. companies plan to hire workers between now and year's end. That's down from 21% in the last 3 months a year ago. And the Chicago teachers' strike has entered its second day now, with both sides refusing to budge. It means no classes again for some 400,000 students in the city. The main sticking points are teacher evaluation evaluations based on test scores and whether laid-off teachers should get priority in future job openings. And a remarkable scene in the sky. Take a look here. Two small planes collide over Holland. You see that one there trailing the one in front, flying in the same direction. One pilot, though, not paying attention, and suddenly the plane behind flies into the plane in front. They become stuck together at the wings. The pilots desperately trying them to turn and fly to that beach you see in the distance. Just as they came in for a landing, however, their planes finally able to separate. Both made it to the ground safely. However, astoundingly, no one was hurt. And finally, it took a long time, a very long time, before a headline could be read. British man wins major tennis tournament. British man, well, that is Scotland's Andy Murray, taking down Novak Djokovic in 5 thrilling sets Monday night, taking the U.S. Open. It lasted nearly 5 hours, tying a record for the longest ever U.S. Open final. Murray, the first Brit to win a Grand Slam since 1936. And all eyes will turn next summer, guys, to the lawns of Wimbledon. If he gets it done there, that place will go
hard to believe it's been that long.
It is.
Okay, Josh, thanks very much. Now to the campaign trail. Your voice, your vote. And with just 56 days until the election, our brand new ABC News Washington Post poll out this morning shows President Obama getting a real bounce out of his convention, now leading Mitt Romney among registered voters. ABC's David Muir is covering the Romney campaign from Las Vegas. And David, the Romney team playing down the bounce. They call it a sugar high.
A sugar high is exactly what they're calling it. Call it what you will, though, George. The president taking the lead in our new poll. And as the president and Mitt Romney travel through these battleground states, a different kind of question for voters out there, and perhaps a telling one. Who would you rather have dinner with?
This morning, the new ABC News Washington Post poll confirms that convention bounce for the president. Before the Democratic convention, Romney led the president by 1 point. Now, the president opening up that 6-point lead over Mitt Romney among registered voters. And for the first time, the president is ahead on this question. Who do you trust to handle the economy? The president 47% to Romney's 45%. And this time, a simple question that goes directly to likability. Who would you rather have dinner with? 52% said President Obama, 33% Mitt Romney. And a question bearing a powerful metaphor to this year's election. Who would you rather captain a ship during a storm? Much less of a gap, 46% saying the president, 3 points ahead of Mitt Romney. Romney arrives here in Nevada today after stopping in Ohio, where he blasted the president on the economy and began talking about God this way on the stump.
I will not take God out of my heart. I will not take God out of the public square, and I will not take it out of the platform of my party.
This after that controversy, the Democratic Party putting God back into its platform at its convention last week. Romney also attacking the president on spending. Meantime, in his new book, The Price of Politics, Bob Woodward details the struggle between the president and congressional Republicans during the debt crisis. The president saying he made a mistake by blasting Paul Ryan's budget right in front of him. The president mistakenly calling him Jack Ryan.
I was not aware when I gave that speech that Jack Ryan was going to be sitting right there. I might have modified some of it so that we would leave more negotiations open, because I do think that they felt like we were trying to embarrass him. We made a mistake.
Of course, Paul Ryan, not Jack Ryan, now Mitt Romney's running mate. He's begun debate prep, preparing to take on Joe Biden in these debates. And, George, if these poll numbers hold, as you know, these debates will be extremely important. The next big chance for a game change in this race, George.
That's right, which is why Mitt Romney's taking so much time on that. We're joined now by the man who got that interview you just heard, Bob Woodward of the Washington Post, author of The Price of Politics. It goes on sale in bookstores today. And, Bob, thanks for coming in. So your bottom line is successful presidents like Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, largely worked their will, but you reached the conclusion that in this case, in this struggle, Barack Obama did not.
Yes, simply because our financial house is not in order. In other words, the big debate last year about the debt ceiling and whether the U.S. government is going to be able to pay its bills, it isn't over. We're going to be right back in that soup in December and January, and this isn't a budget issue or a credit rating issue. This is, is the government going to have its money to pay its bills? And in the end, that's the president's job. Yes, it's Congress's job too, but there is such a thing as presidential leadership.
As you know, the White House takes exception to the conclusion. Yesterday, Jay Carney, the White House press secretary, was asked about your observation the president lacked the stamina to build the relationships he needed to get this done. Here's what Jay Carney said yesterday.
It's a funny conclusion to reach, given how many hours the president spent with the leaders of Congress of both parties in these negotiations. I'm not sure what magical past people are invoking where they imagine that accomplishments were achieved in policy matters at a dinner in Georgetown.